The limited time rewards have ended. You can still seek out artifacts, but only for the standard payout.
The Undine are attacking along 3 vectors. These vectors have fluidic rifts that need to be closed. The map and this bar will help you locate friendly forces along the vectors. Undine are the Ferengi. current fluidic rift has opened between the lanes, a location marked on your map. An Undine dreadnought has entered local space. Performing a scan of the rift now. Close the fluidic rift now. Undine fluidic space rift gap has been closed. fluidic space rift psi has been closed. Performing a scan of the rift now. Close the fluidic rift now. Undine fluidic space rift alpha has been closed. An Undine dreadnought has entered local space. Performing a scan of the rift now. Undine fluidic space rift psi has been closed. The Undine are retreating.
How about that? Well, look at that. That was stupid. For some reason, it changed my default microphone. Why do you want to do that? Oh my god. I've been talking to myself this entire time. Well, thanks for telling me now, Moni. That sucks. I don't even, because I've got two screens. And my OBS, I keep like way on the other side of the other screen because I don't usually need to screw with it now. So I just leave it there. Anyway, well, I guess I've been talking to nobody all this time. Damn, you messed all my good jokes. Okay, well, I guess we have a mic now. Okay. Oh, but yeah, as far as news, I was saying that Israel and United Arab Emirates have declared peace between the two countries. Thankfully, because they've kind of been at each other's necks for a while now. So they're chilling out. But let me see what else was there. France is sending help to Lebanon. So hopefully Comrade is going to get some assistance for him and his people. France is sending not only aid but warplanes. I guess there's some crazy stuff going on over there right now. Well, it's only Israel and one other country. I know a lot of other countries like Iran still do not like Israel. So, but I guess it's better. At least peace with one other country is still good. Oh, the irony in America continues. A few years ago, it was Americans, or some Americans, not all, some Americans getting angry, telling Mexicans need to get out of our country. Stay in your own country, Mexicans. You know, that whole thing with the wall and Trump and all that. Well, now the irony has kicked in because for the last several weeks, Americans have been trying to sneak into Canada to go on vacation to get out of the whole COVID thing. And Canada has actually, it's got to the point where it's gotten so bad that they actually had to make a statement and say, okay, seriously, stop trying to get into Canada. Cut it out. Please stop. If we catch you sneaking into Canada, you will be deported. Just stop it. So, again, like I said, the irony is thick. It's sort of hilarious. It's like, wow, really? Now, of course, some of the people trying to sneak into Canada are not the same people that were saying mean things about Mexican people. But it is still ironic. Now Canada's like, I guess we're going to have to build a wall now. Apparently so, man, because they are just, yeah, it's funny as hell. It's funny and sad at the same time. Because we can't go anywhere now. We can't go to any other countries. Seriously, you know, the only one of the few countries that we can actually travel to because this whole COVID thing, one of the only countries that's leaving its border open for us to visit, Mexico. Again, so thick with irony. Mexico's like, yeah, you were dicks to us a few years ago, but yeah, we'll let you keep coming in. Oh, the irony, man, it's hilarious. So yeah, Mexico is one of the few countries that we can still go to. We can't go to Canada. We can't go almost pretty much anywhere in Europe we can't go to.
The limited time rewards have ended. You can still
It's just
seek
weird.
out
It's
artifacts,
so
but
hilarious.
only for the standard payout.
Oh, we did finally get a running mate for Joe Biden, if you hadn't heard. It actually made international news because of who it is. Kamala Harris, who is a biracial woman. Her mother was Indian, and her father was Jamaican. But she was born here in the States. She was born in Oakland, California. So she's definitely American. So yeah, apparently all the Indian American people are cheering it, and I think that's cool. I actually didn't know she was half Indian. I knew she was half black. I didn't know she was half Indian. But yeah, that's kind of neat. So for the first time, we have a multiracial female vice presidential candidate on the ticket, and there is a very good chance that she's going to win. Well, her and Biden are going to win. So that got interesting. Oh, and here's the funniest thing again. The way our law works here in the U.S. is if you are born in the United States, even if your parents are foreign, if you are born here in the United States, you are a citizen. That's just how it is. It's been like that pretty much since the beginning of our country. Your parents can be Japanese, they can be Mexican, they can be Canadian, they can be anything. But if you are born in the U.S., unless the circumstances are very weird, where there's like criminal activity, like a lot of criminal activity, that sort of thing, then yeah, as long as you're born in the U.S., you are a citizen, and so therefore you can, run for public office and you can run for president and all that stuff. Already, the day after the news came out that Kamala Harris, again multiracial,
Dance party starts in half a minute. Get out
was going to be on the ticket as vice president, that next day some dude comes out and says, "Is she really eligible to be vice president?" And he was bringing up the fact that her parents, again, were not American. The way they got in the country, they came in legally. They were scholars. They came in. And then, of course, they had a child here in Kamala Harris. And that's why she is an American, because she was born here. And already that guy is trying to say, well, maybe she shouldn't be allowed to run because her parents... And I'm thinking, dude, come on. And we went through that whole thing with Obama, too. Seriously, I mean, I don't know if you were paying attention to politics from America back in like 2007 or 2008, but we went through the same thing with Obama. People were saying, oh, well, how do we know he was really born in the United States? His parents, they weren't even from America, and he grew up in different countries. And it's like, okay, he was born in Hawaii, which is a state in the U.S. It doesn't matter, again, if his parents... were whatever. And the thing is, his mother actually was American. His mother is American. His father was, I forget what country exactly he was from. But yeah, he was born in Hawaii. Yeah, the whole thing about his birth certificate. And the thing is that he produced both forms, his short form and his long form birth certificate. The short form is generally all you need to go and get things like government IDs, like driver's license or ID cards and stuff. That's good enough. He released that, and people were still like, oh, it's fake, he didn't do... And so he goes and he produces the actual long form version, which has a lot of additional information. And not only that, he went back to Hawaii, got the actual physical paper birth certificate, got a copy of it, a legal copy. You can do that here in the U.S. as long as you get it legally. You can get a copy of your own birth certificate. And he released that too. And even then, people were like, well, I don't know, man. He's still not... He still shouldn't be able to be president. And it's like, come on, man. Are we really going to do this again? I sincerely hope we don't go through that again, because it was just stupid. It was so stupid. Again, if you're born in the U.S., you are a citizen. That's just how it is. Heck, in a lot of circumstances, even if you are born outside the United States, you are still a citizen, depending on the circumstances. Like, we have a lot of soldiers all over the world. They're posted in, like, South Korea, Germany, places like that, where we have a permanent military presence. And it is not uncommon for a soldier to meet somebody. They get married, they have kids, or they have a kid. And even though, like, say, for instance, if it's an American soldier and they have a child in Germany, they can still file paperwork with the United States saying that the child is the offspring of an American soldier, and they will still be granted citizenship as if they were born in the United States. So yeah, there are ways in which you can still be a citizen without even having to have been born here. That's what happens with a lot of people too. Again, especially with a lot of soldiers, because they go overseas and they're there for extended periods of time. They meet people, and sometimes they get married, have kids, that sort of stuff. So it's not unusual. I think I need 12 tack. I'll use that. What else was the news? Fearless Leader decided that he was going to purposely, and I'm not kidding about this, this was actually, as some of the stuff that he's done is really just ridiculously corrupt, yet people just seem to kind of like, But this is beyond corrupt, and it's kind of weird that, again, no Republicans are saying anything about it. Only like 2 Republicans said something, and they got in all kinds of trouble. The United States Postal Service, which is our national postal system, it has never been a for-profit organization, never in the history of our country. It's always been a service because it's available to every single American. The postage, for shipping and all that stuff, sending letters, has always been made affordable on purpose. So again, that everybody can have access to it. The United States Postal Service, unfortunately, has been in a lot of trouble because back in 2006, a really stupid law was passed that said that the U.S. Postal Service had to fund their retirement accounts for the next 75 years, all within a very short period of time. So when you force any company to do that, yeah, they're going to have a hard time. And so now they've had to cut, budgets and all this stuff so they could try to save that money because it's the law. They have to try and save it. Well, of course, now here it is all these years later, and they're in financial trouble. We can help the U.S. Postal Service. We can help them get out of this rut by passing a bill and giving them money, especially because our election is coming up in a few months. And we're going to obviously need them because of, again, the whole COVID thing. A lot of people will not want to go out and vote, at the physical polling places because the whole, people could get sick and all that. And so mail-in voting has been, our backup plan. Because there have been some states that have done mail-in voting for decades. In fact, mail-in voting has been available since like the 1860s. So a long time. But generally the only people who use mail-in voting would be, again, like overseas military, because they're still citizens. They still have a right to vote. Or if somebody that lives overseas who is not an expatriate, meaning that they've kind of said, no, I don't want to be American anymore. If they are still American but living overseas, you can file an absentee ballot, which is just like mailing in. So your vote will still count. And the whole infrastructure for that is in place. We can do it. But again, the United States Postal Service is in trouble. And now they're thinking, okay, how are we supposed to afford to be able to deal with all that mail? Because you're talking about in just a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks, having an additional like 150 million pieces of mail in the system. And so the Democrats were trying to pass a bill that would give them additional funding to be able to handle that. But President Trump's like, yeah, I understand the United States Postal Service needs that money so they can properly do the election, but I'm going to block it. He literally said that. I'm not kidding. He literally, not word for word, I'm paraphrasing there, but he came right out and said, I understand that they need this money so that the election can go over smoother, but I'm going to block it. So he is purposely blocking legislation that would fund the U.S. Postal Service so that it can properly execute its job during our election. So that happened today, and people are losing their minds, and rightfully so, because he is doing some, again, the first couple of years the corruption was kind of veiled, so there was some plausible deniability, but now he's just straight out saying that he's going straight out corrupt. Another thing he did was he made a tax holiday. And again, it's a holiday, meaning that it's not a tax cut. So basically, you don't pay tax right now, but you will still owe that tax at the end of the year. And he says what he wants to do is he wants to make this tax holiday into a proper tax cut. But he will only do it if he wins the election. If he doesn't win the election, he's going to block it until he's out of office. Yeah, that's, we really need to get rid of him, man. It's getting really, the corruption is very, very thick right now. It's, in my life, in my entire life, I can't ever remember things being this corrupt. I wasn't alive during the whole Richard Nixon thing with the Watergate scandal and the breaking into the Democratic National Committee office and all that stuff. That scandal was huge. I mean, that got a president out of office. People went to jail. It was insane. This is probably 10 times as worse, but they're letting it slide because there's not a lot we can do. In this situation, we would generally try to impeach a president because, again, they're being willfully corrupt. But even if the impeachment in the House went through, when it goes to the Senate, they would just say, no, sorry, we're not gonna let you impeach the president, or we're not gonna remove the president from office, because they've already done that once. The president has been impeached. It's getting really, really insane here. It's only going to get worse too. I am starting to get a bit worried. Just all the things that he's doing are, again, like I said, I've never seen political strife like this in our country in my life. I've seen it in other countries, like the whole thing that's going on with Belarus right now. That's in the news. I imagine you probably have heard about that because it's in Europe. I know it's Eastern Europe, but it's still Europe. That whole election was a sham over in Belarus. That was nuts. I read a few stories on that, and that's just outright corrupt. Because the interesting thing about the Belarusian elections is they have paper trails. Random kid off the street, and I'm sure he'll do a better job. I know, right? Like in Belarus, they went to a lot of different polling places because they claim that the incumbent leader, who is, for all intents and purposes, a dictator, they claim that he won with 80% of the vote. They found that very hard to believe because they actually went to several different polling places who, apparently in Belarus, what they do is once the votes are tallied up and counted, they will post a piece of paperwork on a window or a door for that particular polling place, and it will show all the numbers. It will say, okay, this candidate got this many votes. This candidate got this many votes in this particular election area, because they have tons of them all over the country. Well, they went to a whole bunch of them in various parts of the country, and in every single place, the woman who was running against that guy, the current leader, won handily. Like, she was getting like 50, 60, 70% of the vote in a lot of these places. He was getting like 20% maybe. And then other various, random candidates were getting like 1%, 2%. You know how that goes. And so they went to all those polling places and they saw that she was winning all of these polling places. But when the official announcement came out, they said, yeah, he won with 50% of the vote. And of course, people were like, this is BS. And now they're having all kinds of protests over there. People are getting arrested. It's getting bad over there too. Same thing. In fact, a couple of people I think have died in police custody. They have the stormtroopers out there, police in unmarked uniforms, are going and just, doing pretty much what stormtroopers do. Intimidate, beat people, that sort of thing. Oh, the dance-off remaining 31 seconds taken. I got here so late. Yeah, that's happened a lot in the last couple of years. Have you noticed that? In a lot of different countries. Hong Kong. It feels like that sort of thing is happening in the U.S., and it might. It just might happen here in the U.S. And then, of course, it's happening in Belarus. It happened, I believe, in Brazil, where they were trying to get the leadership out, and they had an election, but there was questionable accounting practices, I should say. All sorts of weird stuff is going on, man. But I can imagine if somehow, some way, and I simply can't see a way for Trump to win unless there's a lot of corruption. And I think there will be some corruption. It's just a matter of how much. But the way they're doing it, they're making it almost impossible for there to be a fair election. I just don't understand how that does it. And I've already made the decision. I know that the chances of Trump winning Texas are actually kind of good because we're a big conservative state, but Biden actually has a chance of winning here too. They're about neck and neck right now, as it is. So I definitely want to go and vote. And I've already made the decision. If it looks like there's going to be a problem where mail-in voting is going to have a huge, negative, I don't want to say impact, but it's just not going to work out, I will go out and I'll stand in line for hours and I'll vote. I've already made the decision. I'm not going to sit on my butt and not vote, especially this year. Because, again, Texas, you have to understand, has always been firmly Republican, firmly conservative for decades now. In my entire life, pretty much. It's always been Republican. But this time, we have a real chance of actually turning it to a Democrat. Not that I necessarily like Democrats, but it's obviously a better option. But yeah, I'm definitely going out and voting. Even if it means I possibly may get sick. It's one of those situations like, well, this country can't deal with another 4 years of Trump. We really can't. We can't deal with it. If we try to do 4 more years of Trump, we are going to lose our souls completely. Because we've already gotten to that point with a lot of people. Can't do it, man. Something has to change. It's starting to feel... How can I say this without it sounding threatening? I'm not trying to make any threats against anybody, but I do read a lot of history. I am familiar with what happened in the late 1700s in France. They had the French Revolution. And again, it was a situation where the royals thought, oh, well, we're royals. They couldn't possibly do anything to us. And then, of course, we all know what happened. The king was beheaded. And Marie Antoinette was also beheaded. So, yeah, people will do crazy stuff if you push them too hard. I'm not saying, and I hope that doesn't happen here. I sincerely hope, because that would be insane. But, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world, man. Oh, like in Lebanon, too. Again, going back to Lebanon, their entire government quit. They all resigned because of what happened. Word got out that they had been warned about all the ammonium nitrate even back in January of this year, and they still didn't do anything. They still left it there. And now, and there's a paper trail saying that, hey, we're letting the government know this exists, this needs to be dealt with, and the government was like, eh. Yes, no joke, the entire government. The prime minister and something like 120 other officials, all gone. They all quit. And so now Lebanon effectively has no government. So that's nuts. I think that's probably why France is jumping in and supplying so much aid, because obviously America, we're not doing shit for those poor people. We should be sending them aid, but we're not. But yeah, France has stepped up, thankfully. And Macron actually went to Lebanon. He was there. He was there meeting with people, and they were hugging, and he was talking to them all. He was a real good dude. That's the kind of support you want at a time like that. You want you want leadership to come out and, and talk to the people and say, hey, we're here to help. We're going to do what we can, because the leadership in Lebanon wasn't doing it. So Macron, I'll give him all the credit for that. He's stepped up. He's sending aid. Like I said, he's sending ships, and I think he's sending some military down there. The military is meant only for humanitarian purposes, just to kind of maintain the peace. Because again, when your whole government effectively is gone, any military or anything like that, they don't have anybody to follow. So they're just kind of like, eh. Same thing with police. I don't know if any of the police, the people in charge of the police have resigned, but I imagine things are kind of nutty over there right now. But yeah, I remember reading a story. Let me see if I can actually find one. Let me turn in this quest real quick. But yeah, the entire imagine the entire government of your country just saying, nope, we're out. We're not dealing with this. Let me see. I just saw the message in Discord. You're missing Slim eating cheese. Okay. That's weird. I don't think anybody would want to see me eat cheese. Okay, let me see. Where was that? Let me see. Lebanon. Government quits. Okay, this is from the AP, which is actually a very, very solid news organization here. Associated Press. Lebanese government resigns after Beirut blast. This is dated the 10th. Lebanon's prime minister stepped down from his job Monday in the wake of catastrophic explosion. Triggered public outrage. Has come to the conclusion that corruption in the country is bigger than the state. That's true, because they have Hezbollah over there, and Hezbollah is pretty much a terrorist organization. Let's see. The move risks opening the way to dragged out negotiations over a new cabinet amid urgent calls for reform. It follows a weekend of anti-government protests after the August 4th explosion. Let me see. Okay, they give numbers. In a brief televised speech after 3 of his ministers resigned, Prime Minister Hassan Diab said he and his government were stepping down. So yeah, him and all of his cabinet members are gone, along with additional ministers have also been quitting. May God protect Lebanon, he said, repeating the last phrase 3 times as he spoke. Protesters demonstrated in the streets near Parliament for a 3rd straight day. Yeah, and then it just kind of goes on into more in-depth detail as to what's going on with their government. Here you go. Here, this is interesting. Diab's government was formed after his predecessor, Saeed Hariri. I'm sorry, I'm bad with these names. Saeed Hariri stepped down in October in response to the demonstrations. It took months of bickering among the leadership factions before they settled on Diab. His government, which was dominated by the Hezbollah militant group and its allies and seen as one-sided, was basically doomed from the start, tasked with meeting demands for reform, but made up all the factions that reformers want out. Okay. Wow, that's... So basically what he's saying there is that people want Hezbollah out. They want them gone. But Hezbollah, of course, they don't want to give up power, so they're like, no, we're going to stay. And of course, people don't like that. Now the process must start again. Quote, I hope the caretaking period will not be long because the country cannot take that. Let's hope our new government will be formed quickly, Public Works Minister Michael Najjar said. And effective government is the least we need to get out of this crisis. Yeah, Lebanon is in all... That's why whenever, in the last couple of weeks, the last several weeks, when I've asked Maroon, or Comrade as we now call him, when I've asked him about how things are for him, I wasn't being facetious. I was actually concerned because his country is insane right now, man. I mean, yeah, things are crappy here in the U.S., but at least for the most part, we're still kind of rolling along. His country doesn't even have a government. There's no leadership there. Yeah, there's just all kinds of stuff going on over there, man. They need leadership badly. They need to get Hezbollah out of there. Yeah, I was actually really concerned for him, man, because that country is... It's all kinds of craziness, man. Yeah, that whole situation is just... the country was already doing badly. It was already in really bad shape. There was basically a depression going on in his country. A lot of people were losing jobs. Their inflation rate was going nuts. Their money wasn't worth a lot. So they were already in trouble. And then the explosion basically just said, well, This is what we get, I guess. Yeah, I hope things improve over there, man, because it's nuts over there right now. So let me see. What is this? And really, this is already done? Okay. Yeah, the world is insane right now, man. So many insane things going on. Hong Kong, again, for all intents and purposes, is now just China. China has taken over. Hong Kong can try. I mean, they're trying to keep the democratic process going, but China's not going to allow that. They're just, In fact, there was one bit of good news. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily good news because I know what's going to happen. There's a judge in Hong Kong. He was hearing a case about 2 reporters that were charged with striking a police officer. And, they got arrested and all that stuff. And so the judge is there and he's hearing the case. And there was video of it. And the judge, surprisingly, found, not only did he find the 2 reporters not guilty, but he sat there and openly chastised the police who had testified because he said that they lied to him over and over and over again because there was their testimony and then there was the video. And on the video, it clearly shows that the 2 members of the press didn't do anything. They were just there doing their jobs and the police went and got them and attacked them. And he said that straight. He's like, yeah, they didn't do anything wrong. You guys attacked them. So they're not guilty. You guys, the cops, though, you should be ashamed of yourself. And he went off on them. I think that's good. That obviously those 2 people are not in jail because they legitimately didn't do anything wrong. But I feel for that judge now because it's only a matter of time. They're going to get him. I don't know if they're going to kill him or if they're just going to make some trumped up charges against him and say, oh, he's corrupt and, get him out of his office, Yeah, he's at the very least going to lose. I think he did it, but he knew that he was probably going to lose his job. At worst, they're going to kill him. Or maybe even worse than being killed, they may arrest him and send him to a slave camp. Yeah, that's, again, he did the right thing, but, doing the right thing in China right now is a little hard. Or in Hong Kong, I should say. I got a weird tribble. It's purple. China had this. Yeah, they've got they have the Uyghur slave camps and yeah. You can probably see in the chat they're still discussing politics. Trump is no great keeter. Yet Biden sniffing kids publicly is only the tip of the iceberg for what he's been doing behind closed doors. Really, Trump. Oh my gosh, they're saying some really weird stuff that I can't say here. Trump has been doing inappropriate things with children. Sniffing bad. That's why, again, I don't know if you're up on American politics, but this is why a lot of us were not crazy about Joe Biden getting the Democratic nomination. He's very old school, and I mean old school. He is a product of a time when you could be in the office and pat a woman on the butt, and it was considered normal. You could go and put your arm around a woman that was not your wife, or that was in the workplace, and again, it was considered normal. You would go and lean down and kiss somebody else's child on the cheek, and it was considered normal. Put somebody else's child on your lap, and that was considered normal. Again, he's a product of a very different time, and he never changed. He is still that guy. And of course, by today's standards, that sort of thing is inappropriate. You don't go around patting women on the butt, especially at the workplace. You don't do that nowadays. You don't go around putting your arm around women you don't know, and unless you have permission, that sort of thing. Again, we live in a very different society now, and so because he is so much older, he's like 78. He's old. Joe Biden is old. And so all this weird stuff keeps coming back up about things that he did in the past. And again, if you put it in context, it kind of makes sense. I'm not saying necessarily that it was right even then. But again, based on the times that he was in, like if you think of going to the office back in the 1960s, that sort of thing. It's like smoking, Nobody would dare light up a cigarette in an office nowadays. But in the 1960s and 70s, it was common. It was just something that people did. Nobody even blinked an eye at it. Same thing with, the little sexual innuendo and the sex jokes and stuff like that. Again, now that sort of thing is not accepted. So people are constantly coming up with things like that and using that against him. And it's fair. I think I'm not saying that it's not fair. I think it is actually fair because, hey, you shouldn't be touching people like that or making comments like that. That's not right. But you kind of have to think, okay, I get that Joe Biden did some really creepy stuff. Even fairly recently, he's done some really creepy stuff. But you have to think, okay, do I want to go with a guy that's a bit creepy? Or do I want to stick with this insane Cheeto person? So you kind of realize those are the choices that we have here in America right now. I'm really surprised that Joe Biden is the best we could do. It's kind of insane. It's like, come on, man. How is he the best choice? He's not. Couldn't we get somebody that didn't have anything like that in their past? Nah, apparently we got to get this dude. So yeah, he's done some weird stuff. Ooh, she's pissed. He's like, where are you going? Damn woman. I love that. That's supposed to be Worf and Dax. Again, if you don't know Star Trek, then you have no idea who they are. But yeah, that was Worf and Dax. Now he's running after her. He's like, wait, come back. Same thing with Kamala Harris. She is far from the best pick. I thought they should have gone with Susan Rice. Susan Rice was perfect, I thought, because she has a terrific record. I mean, a lot of people are looking at other things. They're looking at race, which we really shouldn't, but people do. They're looking at sex, and again, they're saying, "Oh, well, great, she's a woman. We should put her in." Well, you shouldn't judge. You shouldn't put somebody in office simply because they are a woman or because they are a man. You should put them in office because they're qualified. Now, Susan Rice, I felt, was all of that. She's black, she's a woman, and she's highly qualified. And I thought, it seems pretty obvious you go with her, but no, he chose Kamala Harris, who unfortunately has a little bit of a past. So that's going to come back to haunt her too. But again, it's very similar to, Biden and Trump. It's like, well, which one do you want to pick? Do you want to pick Kamala Harris, who, yes, she did some kind of underhanded things when she was a district attorney? Or do you want to go with someone like Mike Pence, who is... he's just awful. He's just so terrible. He is the kind of person... He is like very, very religious. Like super religious. And here in the U.S., we have the separation of church and state. I don't know how other countries have it, but that's kind of been our thing. Separate church and state. And that's how it's supposed to be. But obviously, if you have somebody who's incredibly religious in a public office, that doesn't always work out. That's why the whole thing with abortion has been a hot topic here in the U.S. for like 40 years. Because there's always somebody from various religions saying, oh, well, it's against God and all this. It's like, we're not talking about God here. We're talking about government. It's two very different things, but some people think they're the same. Yeah, I'm doing this event again. Just because I'm mostly just talking. Just kind of burning time here. Oh, interesting thing happened. I did get 3 more subs. I don't know why. I know one of them is you. I'm pretty sure one of them is you because your new account. But I got a couple of others. One of them subbed to me simply because I responded to him, which I think is nice. Because he had a question about one of my other videos. And I got back to him. I didn't see it for a couple of hours, but I got back to him. And right after I responded to him, he responded back to me with another comment, and then he subbed. And I was like, well, that's nice. I try to respond to everybody. In fact, for the most part, I do. Perhaps. Perhaps. I've been very close for a long time, though. In fact, at this point, I'm not really so much worried about subs. I'm more worried about watch time. Because I figure, you know, 25 subs, at this point, it's doable. But my watch time is still a little low. At my peak, my watch time was like 7,000 hours. It was amazing. It was great. But now it's down to, I think, 2556, I think was when the last time I checked. I can look right now. Let me finish this one real quick. Okay, let's see. Let me jump over here real quick. See, current watch time. 2559 is my current watch time. And I need to have 4,000. So, was there anything different I was doing? Oh yes. I was playing nothing but Duel Links. That was back during the time when we would have like 30, 40 people all watching and participating in the Duel Links shows. When I was doing them every day. Or almost every day. I want to get that sort of thing going again, but again, like I said, I don't want to just concentrate on one particular game so much. Because, like I said earlier, that's right, I think I was muted, so you may not have heard me. But I was talking about how I don't want to kind of pigeonhole myself into streaming just one game. I like playing whatever I feel like playing that day. But the benefit of doing that is you get a lot of people who keep coming back because they want to keep watching that game. That's how I ended up getting so many people watching for a time. But the downside, that's exactly what I was saying. The downside is I got burned out. It got to the point where I did not want to play anymore. In fact, there was a stream. I remember this one because I was like, holy crap, I can't believe I said that. There was a stream that I was doing. It was supposed to be for a new box release. And we were supposed to be going over the cards in the box and all that. And I got like 15 minutes into the stream. And I just was not into it. Not at all. I was just in such a horrible mood. I was like, I don't even want to stream. I don't want to play this game. And like, again, like 15 minutes into the stream, I said, why the hell am I even here? I said, I do not want to do this right now. I just do not want to play. And I just ended the stream. And like 5 minutes after that, I was like, holy crap, I actually said that. But it was true. It was 100% true. I was so burned out on it. I was like, I just don't want to play this right now. I want to play something else. You can only play it so often, and then it's not fun anymore. And it had not been fun for a while at that point. Probably a good 2 months before that, I had already started kind of like, ugh, I don't want to play. You know, because that was the time when I was doing shows at like 11:30 in the morning my time, like almost every day. I think I took like 2 days off. I mean, it was good, I guess, for business, but man, I hated it. I would get burned out so often. By the time the stream was over, I needed a frickin' nap. I was like, I hate this so much. That's why I do want to play other games. But again, like I said, some people, they get into one game and that's all they want to watch. That's it. That's all they want to watch. That's why I tried all these other different games. That's why I've tried Star Trek. That's why I did Fallout. That's why I did, what was it? The Kingdom Come game. I thought that game was kind of fun. I'm actually surprised more people didn't watch. I thought it was a really good game. But again, you know, just people get into that one game they want to watch, and that's it. It's kind of like people who play, who watch and play Fortnite, and that's like their entire life. That's their whole gaming life. That's the only game they want to play. And I'm like, I mean, again, I can play a game for a while and stream it for a period of time, but eventually I'll switch to other stuff. But some people can do that. Like, I don't understand how Ninja does it. I think maybe because he's swimming in money. I think that's why he does it. Because pretty much all he plays is Fortnite, right? Like, that's like his big game. That's like the big thing he does, is just play Fortnite. I think he's played some other games, but that's like his big moneymaker. I just, you know... Especially with a game like Fortnite, where it has just one particular thing that you're supposed to do over and over and over again, kind of like a card game. It has very little variety to it. Whereas a game like this, it has more variety. There's more things to do. Like if I want, I can just sit here and do the summer event, or I can do TFOs, which are basically dungeons, or I can go and do story missions, you know, or I can go and do patrols where I just go and blow a bunch of stuff up. You know, there are a lot of different things you can do, and then of course they're always adding additional stuff to the game. Whereas with a card game, yeah, they may add more cards, but you're still basically doing the same thing. You know, the idea is to win. That's it. It's not about hearing a story or you know, getting certain achievements, that sort of thing. It's not like that. It's like either you win or you lose. There is no middle ground there. Like, I actually thought yesterday that I might stream Magic the Gathering Arena. But again, I thought, you know, I'll stream it and I'll probably have a little bit of fun. Because I do still like Magic. It's still okay. But I know that when people see that I'm streaming Magic the Gathering Arena, they're immediately going to come in, and it may attract people who are extremely competitive, and they may want to play, and they'll see the decks that I'm playing, and they're like, oh, it's a stupid deck. You're not going to win with that. You get destroyed in PvP. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm not using this in PvP. Well, that's stupid. Why even play? I hate that crap, dude. It's like, you know, what is so wrong with just having fun? What is so wrong with just doing something you enjoy? I mean, I get it that some people like PvP and that's their thing. That's how they, you know, have fun, and that's fine. I'm not going to judge them for that. But not everybody likes to do that stuff, man. Some people just like to chill out. Like, there's PvP in this game. I sure as hell don't play it, but there's PvP. And the good thing I like about PvP in this game is that those of us that don't play PvP, the PvP players, they don't give us any crap for it. They're just like, oh, okay, that's cool. So at least the community is decent in that way. They don't, you know, try to get us into PvP. WoW is kind of like that too sometimes. WoW, and for the most part, if you don't do PvP, they're fine with it. But there are a handful of people who that's all they do. It's all PvP. It's all arenas. And if you don't do it, they just think you're a lesser of a player. They're like, oh, you're a filthy casual. Like, dude, I've been playing this game for, you know, like 15 years. How am I a casual? Well, you don't play PvP. Yeah, I mean, if it's PvP just to have a good time and just have fun, that's fine. But if it's like super competitive, extreme, trash talking, that kind of stuff, I do not like that. Man, they're really spawning here today. Okay, yeah. See, that's supposed to be Dax, and that's supposed to be Worf. They made her thick. Jesus. Dax is not this thick in the show. Yeah, Dax is a bit taller and a bit thinner. Well, more appropriately, that's Jadzea Dax. but most people just call her Dax. Oh, she's pissed now. She's leaving. And Dax and Worf were in a relationship for a while. They were funny. They would argue a bit, and it was kind of neat because Worf is a Klingon, and they're known for being a bit aggressive, a bit argumentative, and Dax had a way with Worf, where she would always kind of screw with him, and for some reason he put up with her. Not Trax, Dax, D-A-X, not Trax. Oh, the scavenger hunt's going. We can just get a scavenger hunt.
Friend, there's a bunch of... How can I help? Try moving to a different location and scanning again. Your scanner will do a comparison to the last scan you made and tell you if you're getting closer or further away.
Oh, I'm now further from the target. Okay, well, we're gonna go this way then. That is pretty funny though. Jadzia tracks. Oh, I think it's over here. I think it's gonna be the one over here. Some people use the map. There's a map that has all the various locations for the artifact. I still like actually putting in some effort.
You found it.
Oh, there it is.
Pick it up and bring it back to me.
But there it is. We already found the artifact. But yeah, there's a map that has all the locations.
Well done. Well done. How can I help?
I only do that during the bonus. Although you can do that one every 15 minutes as well. Or you can just come lay on the beach. Interestingly enough, I've not gotten any subs for this game on YouTube, but on Twitch I've gotten like 8 follows. All because of Star Trek Online. And I'm just like, that's interesting. In fact, Twitch owes me money. Last I checked, they owed me like $4. Yes, all the time that I've been streaming and they owe me $4. Most of it was, well, some of it was from ads. Like half of it was from ads. The other half was from bits. I think because I've actively told people not to give me bits is why it's not more than it was, or that it should be. But what do you think about that? What do you think about, I mean, I don't even know. Do you even play Magic, or do you even know how Magic works? Magic the Gathering? Because I have considered doing Arena. Magic the Gathering Arena, the game. Because like I said, I've had that account since beta. And it's just there. The game is... in fact, I updated the game just a few days ago. But, yeah, like I said, that my one thing is I just don't want to attract the wrong people that come in and they're just, you know, crappy people. And all they want to do is just come and crap all over everybody. I hate that. Just want to reach the computer screen and just punch them in the eye or something. But yeah, I'm considering Arena. I was even considering just doing a live sorting video. Or like a live stream. Well, not a well, I guess I shouldn't say video. I guess just say live stream. But like a sorting video where I basically get my camera and I face it down toward my desk and I stream for like an hour and a half, and all I do is just talk about cards and I sort cards the entire time. That's it. That's the whole thing. What? I am not your enemy. What a jackass. He won't... Well, here, I'm going to do it anyway. Where's my emote? I know I have an emote. Oh, my floater ran out. Haha. Look, me and this Klingon are both doing it. A friend of yours has magic cards. Every time I play Magic or I look at Magic cards, it always reminds me of the huge mistake I made back in the 90s. And I can't get over it. No matter how hard I try, I can't get over it. I think I've mentioned it to y'all before. Back in the 90s, when I was at a park with my girlfriend, after she left, because she had to go home, I was there in the park and I went to this bench, like a park bench. It was like a picnic table. And I found a box, a shoebox of tons of Magic the Gathering cards. This was back in like 1995 or so, 94, 95, something like that. And I found this box, and it had a lot of cards. I'm talking, there was like 1,000 cards in this box. And at the time, I had no idea what it was. Like, I'd seen the booster packs in stores and stuff, but I didn't really know what it was. But I found this box, and I was like, and even at that time, I was already into collectibles. I collected a lot of football cards and baseball cards. And so I saw all these cards in this box, and nobody was around. I mean, the park was empty. Nobody was there. It looked like somebody had just forgotten they put it there. And so I was like, oh, cool. And I figured I'll take it home and I'll look over it. So I took it home, and I did look over it. I remember getting into the box and pulling the cards out and looking through them and being careful, because even, like I said, even back then I was a collector and I knew how to take care of cards. And I looked over all the cards, and of course I didn't really understand what I was looking at. And I was like, And so I put them all back in the box, and I basically shoved them in my closet for like a year. And then my family had to move, and we had to start getting rid of stuff because we were unfortunately moving to a smaller place because we weren't rich. We were having problems financially. So we had to move to a smaller place, and I had to get rid of some stuff. And yes, that box of Magic the Gathering cards had to go. And I remember going outside and sticking it in the trash can. And at the time, I didn't think much of it, because again, I wasn't really aware of what the game was. But yeah, you can imagine all these years later, now that I look back, I remember some of the cards that were in that box. There were Black Lotuses. There were Mox cards. Ancestral Recalls, Power 9s. Yeah, you know exactly where this is going. There were Alpha, Beta, Revised, and Unlimited cards in that box. Those cards today would be worth probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the condition and depending on what cards. But just the Power 9 cards. And I remember specifically, that's the first time I'd ever seen a Black Lotus. And I remember looking at that card, and I was like, wow, that's some awesome art. And I remember I had at least one Black Lotus. Had at least one. And I don't know what version it was. I don't know if it was Alpha or Beta, but it had black bordering, I remember. So it was either Alpha or Beta. It wasn't Unlimited or Revised. And yeah, there was all kinds of good stuff in that box, and I threw it all away. And to this day, I regret it. And like I said, I still can't get over it. And I think, I don't want to say I'm justified in not being able to get over it, but you can understand why I have such a hard time letting that go. I mean, can you imagine if I saved all those cards and kept them all in good shape? Because even my baseball and football cards from that time period, I still have a lot of them. I've sold some here and there, but I still have a lot of them. And they're all still in good shape because I take care of them. I use penny sleeves, I put them away, I use top loaders, all that. Man, if I just kept that box. Man, so much money. So much money. Of course, I could have also made a mistake later if I'd kept the box. Like, this was back in like 95. So if, say, for instance, in like 2005, when I started actually getting into Magic the Gathering, 2004, 2005, something like that, when I actually started getting into Magic the Gathering, I might have been tempted to sell those cards at that time. A couple of Black Lotus. Well, it depends. It depends on the Lotus. And it depends on the condition. Alpha Black Lotus, only like 1,100 of them were ever printed. And that was it from Alpha. Because Alpha, they only did so many printings of those cards. And then they moved into Beta and, So yeah, if you have an Alpha Black Lotus, only 1,100 were ever printed. And some of those got destroyed, chewed up, played with. So maybe there's, 500 left in circulation that are in decent enough shape. And of those, how many, I imagine a lot of them are actually graded now anyway, because it's a Lotus. But how many of those are near mint, like PSA 10 or at least PSA 9 mint? Not many. Not very many at all. Now, some of them may actually still be out there because there are booster packs, I believe, of Alpha that are still out there that are unopened. They're rare and they're super expensive. I'm talking like $25,000 for a pack of cards. But they're there. But yeah, I mean, the Lotus is the big one. But again, the other Power 9 cards were just as good. Pretty much all the Mox cards, pretty much all of those were worth money. They are all worth good money. Like the cheapest Mox card from Alpha is like $8,000. That's the cheapest one. In fact, now I'm curious. I want to go look now. Because a lot of the older stuff has been creeping up in value again lately. Let me see. Where is that website? There we go. MTG Stocks. Let me see if I can find it here. There we go. We'll look at Mox Emerald. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Beta edition, $8,500. Even the collector's edition, which are not, you can't, they're just for collection only. You can't even use them in games or matches. Even that version is $536. And again, that's another regret that I have. The collector's edition that came out in the mid 2000s, and I remember going to the card store, which was by another business called Thor's Hammer, because there was Thor's Hammer, and then like in that same shopping center there was a card store. I think it was Austin. Was it Austin Cards, or I forget the name of it. It's still there. The same owner owns it. He's still there. But he sells Yu-Gi-Oh, he sells Pokemon, he sells Magic, he sells all that. Plus, his big thing are football and baseball cards and hockey cards, but he also does all the game cards too. And I remember specifically seeing that he was selling the complete collector's edition set for $45 back in like 2004 or something. And I remember asking about it, and people were telling me not to buy it because you couldn't use those cards in games. They're like, yeah, it's useless. Don't buy it. And now I see that those collector's editions cards are worth all kinds of money. And I'm like, God damn it. Just, ugh. With the Power 9 cards, no. Those are, basically they're on the reserve list, meaning that they will not be printed again. Ever. At least that's what Magic has told us. There are certain cards they do that with, where they will only print them a certain number of times, sometimes only a single time, and that's it. They will not print them again. So you can't use them in modern tournaments, but sometimes they do vintage tournaments. You can use them there. But of course, most people are not going to stick a Mox into their deck and play with it. I believe they let them use proxies. Like if you can prove that you own like a Mox Emerald or a Black Lotus or an Ancestral Recall, they'll let you use a proxy, because obviously nobody wants to take that card out and actually play with it. Even if you use sleeves, you don't want to do that because it can still get damaged. But yeah, that's amazing. Even the unlimited Mox Emerald is $2,700. Let me see, recent decks. Okay, yeah, I see a bunch of vintage decks here. Let me take a look at another one. Let's do Mox Ruby. Alpha Edition Mox Ruby, $4,350. The Beta Edition is $3,500. Again, the collector's edition, $550. I should have bought that collector's set, man. I should have. It was only $45. I should have bought it. And there are a few of them for sale. In fact, there's one on TCG Player right now. Let me see what this one. This one's probably in damaged or moderately played. Yeah, the Mox Ruby Unlimited on TCG Player is just a little over $2,300, and it's moderately played. Yes, absolutely. That's the thing I like about Magic cards, is that some cards, once they put them on the reserve list, the way that Magic has stated again and again is once a card's on the reserve list, it stays on the reserve list. And so from that point that it gets put on the reserve list, it will not be printed again. So again, certain cards have only been printed a couple of times. That's it. They won't get printed again. Or some cards are banned now. And I don't mean banned as in you can't play with them. I mean banned as in nobody wants to even see those cards anymore because of their racial undertones and stuff like that. I remember I think I did a show about it where we were talking about some of the cards that are now considered too controversial to play with or to be included in the game now. Like that one, what is it called? There's a lot of them. I can see it in my head. I think it was Incite Prejudice, that particular card. And the reason why people don't like it is because it has a picture of a hooded figure. The hooded figure is black, but when you say Incite Prejudice and then you show this hooded figure that looks very much like a KKK member, yeah, they don't like that card anymore. So those card prices have actually been going up too. In fact, you can't buy it anymore on TCG Player. I don't think. I think they got rid of it, where they won't allow. You can still buy it on eBay, but they won't allow you to sell it on TCG Player. Let me see. Incite. Should bring it right up. Incite War, Incite Hysteria, Incite. Wow. Even MTG Stocks doesn't have it. I guess they're just trying to wipe it out. Let me see. Yes. Yeah, it's not even on here anymore. They are completely moving away from that card now. Wow. What about Cleanse? Did they do the same thing to Cleanse? Cleansing, clear. Yeah, they got rid of Cleanse too. Yeah, those cards, you can't even search for those cards anymore on MTG Stocks? That's amazing. If you've never heard of MTG Stocks, it's basically, it tracks the history of every single Magic the Gathering card from the day that it was released on its value. So you can actually look back. Well, they don't have all the dates. I think this only goes back to like 2012. But still, that gives you a pretty good history on what the value of the card has been. Like, say, for instance, what's a card that I have? Oh, yeah, Through the Breach. Yeah, I have a card from Kamigawa, from Champions of Kamigawa, called Through the Breach. It's a foil card. They have a regular card, but I have the foil version. And for a while, this card got really expensive. But then they freaking reprinted it. And then, of course, the value took a dive. The foil version's still worth a pretty good amount of money, but not nearly as much as it was. I think at its peak, the foil version that I have was like $120. And now it's like $45. So yeah, it took a pretty nasty hit there. Yeah, because it was only printed, it was printed in Champions of Kamigawa, and that was the only set it was in for a long time. And then they reprinted it in Ultimate Masters, and in also the Masterpiece series. Which kind of sucks, because again, I want them to not reprint cards like that. So they gain more value. That's why Yu-Gi-Oh! Is kind of weird. Because they have no problem with reprinting cards. They will print a card into oblivion. Just, they're like, oh, let's print it 25 more times. Like, how many different copies of Dark Magician do we need? If it's different artwork, that I can understand. But certain cards, certain versions of Dark Magician have been printed like 30 times. I understand it's the big card, but same thing with Blue Eyes White Dragon, Red Eyes White Dragon, other certain cards. Let me see, what other cards have been reprinted to oblivion? Things like Dust Tornado, that's been printed like 25 times. Toon World, yeah, Toon World's been reprinted a lot. Again, I understand that they want to make the cards available to people, but at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of collectors out there like me, and I want to see the value of that card go up. I want to be able to hold it for 10 years and then, you know, sell it for a nice profit. It seems like Yu-Gi-Oh has a weird thing about it. If, like with Magic the Gathering, the card values, like it all depending on the card. When it first comes out now, some of those card values will go really high, and then after about 90 days or so, they start to settle down, and then the card value kind of, you know, stays kind of low. But then again, as the card ages, it slowly creeps back up again. That happens with some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but it's more so that you see the big value come within like the first 2 months of release, kind of like Lightning Storm. Like Lightning Storm, when it first came out, it was, you know, it was like a $90 card, and then when people realized, holy crap, this is really good, then it pumped up to 100, then 110, then 120. In fact, now I think it's 130. I think it's gone up even more now. Let me check. Let me look at we'll look at TCG Player. Let's see. Let me see if they've actually fixed this, because I know that Lightning Storm on TCG Player was a little weird. Let's see. Come on, Lightning Storm. Ah, it's actually come down a little bit. Okay. Yeah, Near Mint Unlimited is now, wow, $100. That's surprising. I thought it would have stayed. I guess more and more of them are hitting the market, though. So yeah, it's $100, but it's starting to come down now. That's actually, I was hoping it would stay up, but no. And that's what's going to happen with Lightning Storm, is I think it's going to slowly keep coming down. Before you know it, this card's going to be like a $50 card. Same thing happened with Borreload Dragon. When I got Borreload Dragon, it was right when it first came out, so it was like a $55 card, and I sold it for $55 on eBay. And now, let me take a look at it. Let's see. There we go, Borreload Dragon. How much are you right now? Oh my god. I didn't realize it was this bad. I sold mine for $55. Now you can get Borreload. Well, let me do a first edition, because I sold a first edition. Here we go. Near Mint first edition Borreload Dragon is now $9. Wow, that price tanked. Holy crap. I'm glad I sold when I did. Same thing with Lightning Storm. I'm glad I sold. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is some of these cards, when they first come out, now I'm very tempted to not even hold on to them. Because they just, if you want to make a profit within a decent amount of time, just sell it. Because again, Yu-Gi-Oh is known for reprinting cards. Same thing with a card like Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial, when that card first came out, it was a $20 card. It was a $20 card, and now there's like 8 or 9 printings of it. Let me see, how many printings are a Foolish Burial? Let me see. View all versions. How many printings we got? 1, 2, let me see, 8, 12, 16, 18 printings of Foolish Burial. Wow. A couple of them are still worth some good money, like the Lost Art one, but that's because it's a different art. It's a different, instead of having just the gravestone, it has a cross on it. Some of them are still worth some good money, like Turbo Pack is worth good money. Premium Gold's like $4. Oh, Legendary Collection, I have like 3 of these. That's a $5 card. And then the Lost Art promo is $14. But like the Lost Art promo makes sense to me because again, it's different art. But just checked, and the booster box finally dropped back to... Oh, it did? Let's take a look. Let's see. Toon Chaos. Wow. On TCG Player, it's still $155. Whew. The pricing of the cards, though, has finally started to come down, though. like the collector's rare of Blackluster Soldier Envoy. I think at one point that was like $400, wasn't it? Now it's $290. Chaos Dragon has come down. It's under $200. Toon Harpy Lady has come down too. That was like a $90 card. Now it's $75. Yeah, they're all slowly coming down again. Again, as more product hits the market, they're gonna. It's expected that they'll come down. Pot of Extravagance has actually held its own. It's still about the $40 range. And some people are actually selling. Again, this is first edition. Selling the first edition Toon Chaos packs for $7. Yeah, TCG players are a little weird. Different markets, you're going to see different stuff. Let me look on eBay. Because I actually am curious. I hadn't even looked at Toon Chaos for so long. Because I just saw the price keep going up. And I was like, oh, screw it. I guess I missed out on that one. Ah, here we go. The ones you're probably seeing are the Unlimiteds. Because on eBay, Toon Chaos Booster Unlimited Edition, not first, Unlimited Editions are $90. But again, Unlimited does not have the collector's rares. That's why they're cheaper. Because the collector's rare, if you get one, that pretty much pays for the box. But yeah, Unlimited, you don't get collector rares. Yeah, the first editions, yeah, I'm seeing them here right next to each other. Unlimited for about $95, $90. And then first editions are $156. So there you go. There's your difference. You're paying the premium. You're paying like a $60 premium to get the first editions. Let's see. They also have Spanish ones. I wouldn't buy a Spanish box though. Ooh, somebody's asking $200 for first edition Toon Chaos. Yeah, all the Unlimiteds are going to be about $100. Makes perfect sense. But for first editions, people are still asking a ton of money. I guess if all you do is just want the Toon cards, it's fine. But yeah, if you want to try to get a collector's rare, which is very hard to get, you're going to pay a big premium. Might still be worth it, though. Because again, if you actually do get the collector's rare, unless it's, you know, like the Toon Harpy Lady, you're going to make money. Because Toon Harpy Lady's only, what was it, like $75 I just saw? Yeah, it's only $75. But if you get like the Blackluster, or if you get the Chaos Dragon, yeah, just that one card alone is going to pay for the box. Everything else is gravy. Oh, I gotta rent another one of these. I've just been letting her sit here while we're talking about cards. How many of these do I have now? 200. Still need a little more. But like I said, hey, if you just want the Toon cards, then sure, go ahead and get Unlimited. It's fine. That's another thing I've noticed. I think because a lot of collectors of Yu-Gi-Oh tend to be younger. Not that I'm saying that I'm super old or anything, but again, I've been a collector since I was a child. Because even when I was a kid, like a young kid, my uncles were into collecting things like baseball cards and football cards. And so they kind of, one of my uncles actually lived with us when I was very young, and he was into collecting, and he kind of passed that on to us. So right from the beginning, we understood, you know, oh, well, if it's a baseball card, football card, any kind of card really, you definitely want to try and take care of it. Hopefully it will have some value in the future. Of course, I was stupid enough to not recognize that with Magic the Gathering. But still, you know how it is. But yeah, a lot of younger collectors or younger players don't realize that, you know, these can be worth quite a bit of money. So sometimes I've seen where the unlimited version of a card will actually be more expensive than the first edition, which is weird to me. I just think to myself, you know, there's only so many. That's the thing about first edition, is there's only so many copies of that version of the card. So why would it be less expensive than unlimited?
Your scanner will do a comparison to the last scan you made and tell you if
prices for singles in them sure dropped a ton. Harpy Lady and Toon Terror are down just a couple cents. Bookmark Page Flipper getting there. Yeah, they're all getting more. Especially again when unlimited hit, it's going to bring the prices down. Mostly because some people, again, they don't care if it's first edition or unlimited. They just want the card to play with. So that means that there is less demand now for first editions because that's all there was for a while. And now there's unlimited, so they don't have to get first editions. They can go the cheaper route. So because they go the cheaper route, that actually pushes the price of first editions down. The only thing that I think should maintain their price, but for some reason I think it's going to go down anyway, are the collector rares. Because the collector's rares, again, they're only in the first edition boxes. That's it. You can't get them in the unlimiteds. But for some reason, sometimes when the market sees a particular set start to come down in price, all the other cards will tend to follow suit. Which I think is kind of dumb. But yeah, again, the market is a weird thing sometimes. Speaking of market, I know you all do stocks and stuff. I do. My little investment is still doing really well. I think my investment, last I checked, it came down a little bit from its peak. But I'm still up like 55% on my investment. And I think what I may do, the thing is, I don't know if I want to keep it because they're predicting that they're going to be profitable in the next couple of quarters. So I'm like, do I want to go long on this? Because what I could do is I could maybe wait for it to pop like to $1.30 and then sell it, take my profits, then wait for it to come down again to like $1 and then repurchase it all plus more. I think that's what I want to do. I'm going to wait till it pops one more time because I know in 2021 that company is going to be profitable, and when they're profitable, that stock is really going to go up. It's going to go up to probably about $5 or $6 at least, depending on what their EPS is. And now that I'm talking about stocks, you're like, what? What's EPS? I don't know what EPS is. EPS is earnings per share. And the higher your earnings per share, basically the more money you made overall. You want that to be as high as possible. Of course, that doesn't always happen. Sometimes your earnings per share are only, 3 or 4 cents, but that's fine. I mean, as long as you post a profit, you're okay. I spent 8 cents on Dogecoin, and that investment went to crap. Seriously, I bought so many coins with that because the Dogecoin is so cheap. So you could buy, seriously, you could buy like 3 shares for a penny. No joke. For a penny, you could buy 3 shares. And the Dogecoin, it went down. Even from that really, really cheap price that I bought it at, it still went down. But it was just a joke. I bought it as a joke. In fact, I can look at it right now. Hold on. Where is it? Where's Dogecoin? How many, let me see. How many shares do I actually have? I have 19 shares of Dogecoin. It's actually up 0.5% today, which is not bad, I guess. But again, overall, I've lost, let me see. I've lost 17.6% on my investment. But again, my investment was 8 cents. So I'm okay. I'll be fine. I did it as a joke anyway, so it was still worth it for the meme. Because again, that's the thing with crypto, especially stuff like this, like the super, super ultra cheap stuff. It's mostly all pump and dump stuff. They're never really gonna go anywhere. Especially Dogecoin. This thing has been around for so long and it's never really done anything. I think at one point the most expensive it was, let me see, let me look over the last 5 years. Yeah, the highest price for Dogecoin ever has been, oh wow, it wasn't even worth 2 cents. It was worth 0.0171 cents. So not even 2 cents a share. And right now, it's valued at 0.00346.9 cents. That's funny. The interesting thing is, over the last 5 years, it's actually up 16,000%. When it first came out, it was worth almost nothing. It was 0.0001 cent. So that's, let me see, let's tenths, hundredths, thousandths. It was worth 1/10,000th of a cent. But now it's worth quite a bit more than that, actually. It's, wow, it actually has gone up a lot. So yeah, if you bought in early, you made out like a bandit, but that's nuts. That's so weird. Almost enough to retire. Yeah, one of the stocks that I invested in and I thought was going to do really well actually disappointed me. It's a company called Top Ships. And the thing is, they have revenue coming in, but they had to do a reverse stock split. Because at one point I owned 59 shares, but I bought them really cheap. And they recently did a reverse stock split of, I think it was 1 for 25. So basically my 59 shares turned into 2 shares, and then they owe me a little bit of money. Because they had to do a reverse stock split because the price was, the share price was so damn low. And that's bad, because then of course they did the reverse stock split, and when they first did it, the value of the shares was then, I think, set at $2.81, something like that. But then of course the value of that immediately dropped. So now technically the stock is worth even less than it was a month ago. It lost like 50% of its value in like 3 days. But again, my position on that is pretty small, so thankfully that didn't do anything. But my other one is doing really well. I invested in a company called Biocept, and they're in medical. They mostly do oncology, which is cancer. They do a lot of cancer testing, that sort of thing. So they have income, and they just actually got a whole bunch of additional income because they are now doing tested for COVID. And they got approved to do several thousand tests. And each test they do, they're paid by Medicare, which is part of our government medical system. Each test they do gets them $100. And right now they got a contract to do 7,000 tests. So that's $700,000. And then on top of that, they are looking to get to extend the contract to do like another 35,000. So they've got a ton of income coming in. That's why I'm saying they're probably going to be profitable in the next couple of quarters. That's why the value of their stock went up. I bought in at 75 cents a share, and now the share price is at $1.04. So my return is 38%, 38.67%. So that's a nice return. And I've only had these shares for a month, about a month. So, and I think at one point they peaked up to about $1.30, and I was tempted to sell, and I probably should have, because I would have made a nice profit there. I was thinking about doing it. I probably should have sold at $1.30, waited till the price dipped back down again, which it did, and then just repurchased the shares at a lower price again, just to increase the amount of shares I had. I should have done it. I should have pulled the trigger, but I didn't. Oh, I forgot I'm doing this. I completely forgot I was doing this. We were talking about stocks. I should probably finish this. My little floater's going to wear off here in a minute.
You found it!
Hey, there it
Dig
is.
it up and bring it back to me at my camp. Well done. How can I help?
Yay. Pet the tribble. That's right. I get my characters to pet my hairy balls every now and then. Oh man. I think I'm gonna go take a break. I've already been on for over 2 hours just talking about cards. But yeah, like I said, you may eventually see me stream Magic the Gathering Arena. I'll probably do it. In fact, I probably should do it at least once, just to see how it goes. And if I get a good reaction, if I get more viewers and a decent reaction, maybe I'll do it. And maybe you all want to play. It's not, I mean, again, it's one of those games where it's free to play. You don't have to buy packs, but obviously you can move along a little faster if you do. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Until then, eat a potato. I'll see you next time. I'll be on, but I'm just gonna not stream.